traders at UBA said the market is in a calm mode as investors' focus is driven at the moment towards the 500 billion OMO auction holding today. Now, the outcome should further serve as guidance in both the bonds and T-bills secondary market as to where near-term investor buyers will tilt. Kenneth Onuoha, team member assets and liabilities at UBA, joins me now for more market movement. So, Kenneth, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Esther.
I'd like to start off with that notification sent by the CBN yesterday for the OMO auction late Thursday. First of all, is this unusual?
Good afternoon, Esther, and thank you for having me once again. Like you rightly pointed out, there was a notification sent yesterday towards the end of trading session yesterday. And like we haven't seen in a while, this was the very first of it, quite unusual actually, for the notification to be sent on OMO auction a day before the auction itself. The general sentiment in the market was probably because the intention is to raise more and give people more opportunities to plan ahead for the auction. So yes, it was the first of its kind. Right.
So, but in terms of the outcome, subscription levels, rates, what are your expectations?
The results actually did come up just before I came online. It was quite interesting. The expectation, obviously, of the CBN did come through because we saw subscription levels hit as high as 1.16, as against the 500 billion that was put up on offer across three standard maturities of 75, 75, and 350. We saw that subscription levels hit 1.16, and the total sales were about 1.158, which represents about 99.8% of total subscription. Stop rates printed at about, because on the short term we saw it was flat. There was no movement from the 6th May auction. But then in the medium and long run, we saw increase about 26 basis points and 99 basis points to close at 19.74 and 22.49% respectively.
Right, so obviously strong demand remains. Let's just bring this up. We have about 2 minutes left. Just bring us up to speed on trading at the other segments of the market. What have we seen on the yield curve at the bond market?
Oh, the bond market has been quite tepid. And following the news of the auction, the OMO auction that was supposed to hold, everybody was trading cautiously. All eyes was fixated on the OMO auction that just held today. So we just saw cherry-picking activities across the curve. The major trades passed on the 2033 at the end of trading day. On the money market side, we've seen the system liquidity show some of strength. At the beginning of the week, it was about 863 billion in repo. However, as we speak today, it's 170 billion in credits. Now, this is largely due to FAC disbursements that did come in. We also saw some portions of the signature bonus being paid as well as some significant TSA credits into the system. So, but then by the end of today, we'd expect that the system would also shrink back into the repo position following the settlement of the OMO auction of 1.16 trillion.
Right. Before we talk about forecast for next week, talk to us about the Naira. I remember where the Naira is today. I remember the central bank governor, the MPC meeting earlier this week, talking about seasonal demand and the pressure we're seeing on the Naira. That he was attributing seasonal demand to the weakening of the Naira that we're seeing at both the parallel and the official markets. But bring us up to speed in terms of what you're seeing, the dynamics between supply and demand, and if you expect things to change anytime soon.
Oh, yes. The Naira depreciated yesterday for the first time in 4 days to close at 1485.66. This is as against by 158 basis points, basically. Beginning of the week, it traded about 1,468, and it did slowly appreciate to 1,465 and 1,602 from Monday up until Wednesday. But yesterday we saw that there was a depreciation of about 158 basis points. If you were to consider this, put it side by side against the demand and supply theory that you put up, you would observe that the market turnover did show some form of decline as well. So expectedly, that is indicative of the fact that the supply strain on the system still exists. However, we're positive that this would change with the OMO auction. We expected that FPI inflow would come in, and that would naturally translate into increased activity in NAFEM, and we expect to see Naira depreciate by the end of today.
Right, thank you so much.
Appreciate by the end of today.
Thank you so much, Kenneth, for talking to us and bringing us up to speed. Appreciate your time on the show. Kenneth Onuoha, team member, Assets and Liabilities at UBA.